for another very interesting presentation. And I think maybe one of the additional recommendation, maybe that to China would be, or for us, is to learn that any policy or any program needs to be based on a human rights framework. If we were to follow some of the very interesting progress that China is making on subfertility care, which is an important under prioritized area, there's also the importance for us to actually place that within a human rights approach. I think we've heard a lot about that previously, which certainly wasn't the case when they were implementing the one-child policy. So it's very interesting. And just want to again congratulate and thank all the panelists. Maybe we can give them a round of applause for keeping to time and excellent presentation. We've got 15 minutes, right? We can take a couple of questions from the audience.
Yes. For the audience, over to you now. You can raise a couple of questions now. So it's very interesting, all 5 presenters. Yes.
So thank you very much for the, your kind of research on the anti-abortion, the whole thing that is coming up in India. Do you think there is a danger of this also moving to countries like Sri Lanka? Because right now, issues are mostly with religious leaders, that are based here, and it's still very local. So your presentation was quite scary because it shows funding coming from bigger sources to India. So how much danger are we as a country in this moving to countries in other places in Asia?
I'm not like a very good expert, but definitely what we envisioned, we never thought that this could ever happen in India, because these kind of narratives, it's a bit difficult to also enter through saying fetal rights, because in India it's always been driven with a lot of population control lens, and a lot of narratives whenever we talk about reproductive health is from a maternal health lens, so to protect maternal mortality rate. So but what we witnessed was I think especially the growing fascist and fundamentalism has also contributed a lot to enter into to begin enter increase these narratives. And what we saw was it's not just Christian missionaries that are talking about these that are propagating anti-choice narratives, but they are also collaborating with other religious organizations. So as Ragini mentioned, there are Hindu organizations that are also conducting these, and they are also collaborating with big doctors, so in Jain, there is Jawaharlal Nehru University. So it's a very famous university, and there they conducted a conference with doctors, All India Medical Association doctors and Ayurveda doctors, where they try to train them to inculcate Hindu virtues, saying pregnancy culture, Garbh Samapan workshop. So to trace to reach out to pregnant women and sort of influence their pregnancies by saying you have to follow these Hindu virtues. So definitely these narratives also on the outlook it seems they are not affecting abortion, but they are you are telling women how to lead their pregnancy. So there is a lot of interconnection, and the person who was leading the abortion, the pro-life movement, so they also said that they would want to collaborate with other religious leaders, and so in that sense of course it seems they are growing. And if India has a lot of hold in South Asian regions politics, so then there is a lot of threat for even Sri Lanka, where there is already a lot of anti-choice narratives and movement happening.
So just a quick point I would like to add that one of the pro-life marches was led by one of the retired judges of the Supreme Court. So I think what you have to look towards and be careful is that other retired professionals like in the government, or maybe they are out of the government now, but they carry a lot of legitimacy and they give a lot of credibility to the movement. So maybe you have to take care of that.
Thank you. A follow-up question on that. Now, India had been. Thank you very much for pointing out about the judge, the retired judge. So now, if you look at the way the pill trials were conducted in South Asia, it was Sri Lanka volunteered to do the birth control pill trials when India rejected, right? So that is again, the Family Planning Association of India was very in early 1960s or late 1960s. So Family Planning Association of India was very specific about no, our women, we will not give our women for trials, yeah? So we volunteered, Sri Lanka. Okay, so saying that, what is the role, and that time, at that time, it was very much about how the state looked at women's body, you know, and it is very Gandhian kind of stuff, right? When I just heard about the JNU conference, I was like, conference or the workshop, I'm just thinking, what is the state's take on the whole anti-abortion or pro-life stuff?
I mean, they haven't like explicitly said anything, and of course, like like how Ragini mentioned, they are very right wing, and they pass like a lot of policies that control like how relationship should be conducted. And there was also, for example, like in one of the states, they released a sorry notice, like that in order to have a live-in relationship, like you have to go to the district magistrate and register your relationship in order to live together. So like in different states, like they do come up with such certain no, you have to register that you are living together. So it's sort of to it's like it's a very anti-Muslim at the back, like it's a very anti-Muslim thing to like they would say, like that, oh, uh, sorry, I'm just digressing, but the thing is, like that uh, but uh, but because of like this narrative, like we have to control like maternal mortality rate, which is why like there is less scope for government to actively say that we that like that we support like anti-abortion movements. So but like it's slowly coming up uh, because because a like already like because of the right wing movement, women's rights are always under threat, and they are like a lot of narratives are already around this corner. So like it's very in the future, like that this can come up. So yeah.
Thank you. My question is to the Dr. Vimalaratna about subfertility. Now, it is true that China has one-child policy for more than 3-4 decades, and now they are troubling with their fertility. My simple question is that what is the success rate of IVF in China? Now, in Sri Lanka, I know IVF technology success is about 30%. And also you are saying that, I don't know whether China, it may be higher than that. But Sri Lanka, the problem is that state sector IVF technology is very slow and very low. Private sector, they are doing, but require 3 to 4 million. And insurance companies are not ready to insure women for this particular target, because they know that success rate also low and they have to spend a lot of money. Therefore, I don't know how the China is actually in a large scale implementing this IVF technology, and also surrogate mother, how it is adopted in surrogate mother. These are the two questions.
So to first answer the first question, the success rates are lower than in Sri Lanka. It's around 20 to 25%. So my point was like they had a one-child policy for around 3 to 4 decades, as you said. Because of that, from that, they have taken the decision to abolish that and then go to the 2-child policy and the 3-child policy, which they have currently have. So from that, they have gained a 20 to 25% success rate. So I think that's somewhat accomplished and somewhat successful from their context. But when compared to Sri Lanka, it's lower than that. So the second question was, I think, how they had that framework in a massive context, right? So first they had, as I have earlier pointed out, they have these insurance schemes specifically for subfertility treatment and infertility treatment. In Sri Lanka, I think they don't have that because I've gone through few of the insurance companies how and what their policies and how they reimburse for that. So in that, I didn't find such policies or guidelines. And what they have is they also have, like in Sri Lanka, they have this district-wise and state-wise goals that they have to meet. So with that, with the collectional effect and the collectively, they are reaching towards with that. So how I think the massive scale, how they're doing is each state reaches their own goal, and this brings about a collective, big collective. They reach the collective goal. And about the surrogate mothers, the surrogate mother concept is not that. I have actually, to be honest, I have not studied that particular parts. But with my experience and with my clinical visits in China, I haven't seen that surrogate mother concept in China that much, like in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, it's very popular, and I think they have much resources for that. But in China, they don't have for surrogate mothers specifically. But with the other, like that phased development models, with that they have reached so much success.
Thank you very much. I'm really afraid we'll have to come to a close with this session. Again, huge thank you and a round of applause to our panelists. And I know there were some questions that were still unanswered through the fabulous presentation that was made about the anti-choice. I think we all very much focus on the anti-choice, especially now. I think it really is now the time for us to be quite worried about, but worried, but not paralyzed, but really looking at how we are going to be counter that in each of our countries, because it will go everywhere. Sri Lanka, India, Belgium, where I come from and where it's already happened, in Uganda, where it's happened, Ghana, you name it. It is going to be impacting everyone. So please, let's keep fighting and continue the conversation over coffee. And thank you very much for joining us.